So in this video, we're going to talk specifically about why lines and techniques when you're talking to women just don't work. And why routines and patterns is another way to say it. They use it a lot in the old pickup community. And I'm not a big fan of this for several reasons. Now, with that said, I'm going to throw in my little kind of contradiction to this, that sometimes they can work. And I've seen them work. And I'm going to talk about in the situation where they do work. But first, let's talk about why they don't work and what the problem is. And the number one problem is that most of the guys using lines and routines are using them to compensate for lack of feeling, for lack of their ability to feel their own emotions, which you see me talking a lot about in these videos. You need to be able to feel your emotions. You need to be able to connect to your passion. You need to be able to connect to your turn on. You need to be able to connect to your curiosity for real. You can't fake it. You can't pretend. You can't do the facial expressions and the body language of curiosity or appreciation, because it's not the same thing. You have to actually feel it in your body. I used to try to do that. I was really analytical, I was really in my head, I couldn't feel much. And so I'd walk around trying to appreciate. I remember doing this exercise where you can appreciate so many things, like write down 3 things you appreciate every day. And I'd sit there trying to appreciate things, but I didn't really have a sense of what that was like. It took a lot for me to find something I really appreciated. So I would just write down stuff I thought I appreciated, or I knew I should appreciate, or I had appreciated in the past. But that was not the same as actually feeling the appreciation now. I was so analytical, I didn't understand the difference. I didn't know what it was like to live in the now, to actually feel emotions now. I was always in the past or I was in the future. And this was a real problem. As I started to work on myself in this area through meditation, through movement, through feeling work, all these different types of work that actually get you connected to your body, I started to feel more. I started to get real emotions. First, they were a little sad, they were a little scary, because I wasn't used to feeling them, and a lot of them were painful. That's why I'd repressed them. But as I worked through the pain, as I worked through the lack of feeling, as I worked through the repressed emotions, I started to really enjoy feeling. It was pretty amazing. And then when I said, what do I appreciate? You know how many things came up? Well, I couldn't even count. I started to see stuff everywhere that I could actually feel appreciation for. I could actually feel curiosity for. And my world started to change. I started to actually connect more through emotions. My conversations started to change because I could connect more through emotions. And so when I went to talk to people, I became more loyal to what I was feeling than the lines and the words I was saying. I wasn't afraid to interrupt something I was saying right in the middle of me saying it and change topics, because it just was flat. It wasn't going anywhere. Or the topic changed, or the moment changed. I became more loyal to the moment and the overall goal of connecting to this beautiful woman in front of me, or this human being in front of me, than I was getting the routine out. But back in the routine days, when I tried to play with routines, it's more like you become loyal to the routine. I gotta get it out. It's devoid of emotion. You're holding this poor girl prisoner because she can't feel anything from you, but you're determined. I'm gonna get this routine out because eventually it's gonna work on her. And it just doesn't work that way. And it never will. Now, when do routines actually work? Well, they work when you can feel. If I hand a routine to a guy that can feel his emotions and relate to emotions, and he's able to get the routine in alignment with his emotions, then the routine will have an effect. It will work. But here's the interesting thing. If you can do that, you probably don't even need the routine in the first place. Or if the routine is fun for you and you enjoy it and it feels really good in your body because it's fun to play with, then what'll happen is you'll adjust and play with the routine and be loyal to the moment and the connection with the person in front of you. You won't try to say, I gotta get it out the way it's written because it has a certain effect on this person, and if I don't, no, that's not what's important. What's important is that you go and you play it out. Now, back in the old days, when Neil Strauss was around, I remember doing his ring finger routine. I wanted to see what it was like. I was gonna go out and try it. And I remember going to this clothing store in Venice Beach. And I walked up to this girl in the clothing store and I started joking with her, and I did the routine, ring finger routine. But what the interesting thing was I was feeling a lot more then, so I started to adjust it. As I was going, I was like, okay, I don't want to say this part, I don't want to go too long, she has to work, and I want to make sure I stay loyal to the fun. And I was staying loyal to her connection more than the routine. So I just adjusted it, shortened it, and it was probably about half as long as normal. And in the end, she laughed and said, that was really cool. And I'm not going to tell you the ring finger routine because I can't even remember it today, and it's not what's important. So just know that. And but at the end, she laughed and she said, that was awesome. And now everybody had been doing that routine that week because Neil Strauss had been giving it out as an assignment. So she said to me, that was really cool. Somebody did that earlier in the week and it really sucked and it was really weird. But when you did it, it was a lot of fun. Do you get it? It was because that other person was loyal to the routine and I was loyal to the fun we were having with it. I didn't really care about the routine. Matter of fact, I was willing to throw half of it out. All I cared about was staying connected to this girl in front of me through emotion. And that's what was important. So if you're gonna do a routine, make sure it's one that's fun for you. Make sure that you can modify it on the fly. Make sure you can play with it. And by all means, there's one thing that's really important to me. If you're talking about deep emotions, deep feelings, deep stories, this is stuff that really bonds people. When I go to a time talking about a time that I had this experience, it's not like banter, it's not fun, it's not playful. This is deep stuff where we're sharing deep emotions from our life. We're telling stuff about things that have happened in the past that's deep and has a lot of emotional exchange. It's what we used to call rapport, deep rapport, things like this. If you're doing that with somebody, don't pull a routine up and tell a story that's not yours just to connect with a girl. That's a very different beast. If you start telling somebody else's story because you saw that when he talked about the time his grandma died, it caused the girl to really bond to him, or how much he loved his little sister, and you don't even have a little sister, then you're kind of an asshole. Because now you're just lying to the girl to create a connection. And most of the time that won't work. But I've seen some guys out there that can feel, that are good manipulators, that can make it work. They're actually in the minority. And you're an extra asshole. So I just want to put that out there. You have more than enough stories from your own life that are real, that you can share from your own life. And I want to encourage you to get in touch with those stories. Tell those stories. Figure out what actually makes people connect. It's the emotion. And if you could feel the emotion in your own stories, your real life stories from your past or your dreams for the future or what you want to create, then you can connect with people with any story because you begin to understand that it's really all about the emotion and it's really all about the exchange of that emotion. Now, with that said, for those of you that are scared of your own emotions, I'm not talking about neediness. I'm talking about being comfortable feeling your joy, your happiness, your sadness, just strength. The more you're comfortable feeling your own emotions and talking about things that have emotions in them with other people and staying solid, the more confident you really are. Guys who go out walling off their emotions and act confident, that's not real confidence. Stoicism, cockiness, arrogance, but they're not really willing to share anything. And if they're not really willing to share anything that has any vulnerability to it, any emotional aspect to it, in my opinion, that's not confidence at all. You might, if you're really solid at that, might be able to get that to work on drunk girls or girls at the bar that just want to party. And but you're not ever going to get a confident girl doing that. And it's going to be a lot more work and take a lot more time. And you're going to be very unsatisfied in the end. So again, this theme in Fearless, it comes back to emotional alignment, being good with tension, feeling your body, feeling your emotions, all before you say something. It's what's most important. Now, I'm not saying words don't have power. When you feel all these emotions and you speak from that place, and let's say you start speaking poetry, you start speaking from the deepest parts of feeling and you start putting words to those deep emotions, watch the power those words have. Watch how creative you become. Watch how interesting you are. Watch how you say very interesting stuff sometimes. People get fascinated. Matter of fact, sometimes the simplest things sound 10 times better when you do that. Actually, all the time. The simplest things even sound 10 times better. So I want to encourage you to start doing this work today, to get in touch with your emotions, to throw out the routines, or only use routines that you authentically enjoy. Don't be afraid to modify the routines, change the routines, move them around. So I'm not saying don't use them at all. You know, when you're first learning, having a basic thing to say when you walk up to people is great. But don't rely on the words. Rely on who you're being, how you're feeling in your body. That's what's important. So with all that said, I really want to hear what you have to say about this video. Make sure you comment below. Also, make sure you let us know what videos you want to see. If you want to learn more about this topic and ask me questions in person, come out to one of our live events. Check out thefearlessman.com and check out our live events. And we'll be soon adding online live events too, for those of you in other countries and different places around the world. Also, make sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed so you don't miss any of the great content. And with that said, only the confident really live. See you in the next video. Men are built to attract women. I mean, think about this for a minute. Men have been attracting women since time began, or you wouldn't be here, right? You're built to attract women by nature. The masculine attracts the feminine. And if you've got a sense of your masculine creatures by nature, we're constantly searching for more emotion. That's why we go to movies. That's why we look at art. That's why we listen to music. It's to feel different aspects of motivation different aspects of emotion, from being sad to happy.